Hey, it's Nay, and welcome to Hey Nay. Let's get this started. So, the topic for this episode is popular in dating. And I'm gonna go jump right into the questions. The first question is, how does popularity play a role in who you like from middle school to high school and even through college? You have the girls who only date football players and etc. Well, my answer to that will be, is he in the NFL? Because I'm just curious to know that because that perception is just so outdated. Sorry. It is. And I have nothing against anybody who's a football player or anybody who's considered popular in high school, whatever. I mean, and I actually think, and some would argue that I was popular in high school. But my thing is that the superficial reasons, because you're young and everything, you're not really looking for like substance. Really, you're looking more for exterior, so it's understandable why people tend to flock to those type of people. Um but you know I think it can sort of steer your life in a specific direction. You know what I mean? Yes, as a teenager, that is your time to sort of, you know, realize what you like. You know what I mean? You start to feel like what you kind of like. Um, but I think some people end up going in a very, very different path than they should have. You know what I mean? Or some people get caught up with just one person that they can't see anyone else. And that happens a lot in high school. Um, and even when it comes to college, some people do tend to flock towards the athletes still, or towards the smartest people, or towards, you know, the most active person on campus. And that those things happen. You know what I mean? They do. But you gotta you gotta make sure you're looking for the person who's right for you, and not the person who seems right for everyone else. You know what I mean? What do you want? And when you know that, then you can start looking for who can sort of not necessarily fit that criteria, but who are you okay with having in that way. You know what I mean? Or someone who's similar in that criteria, I should say. You feel me? So don't just, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh, but just don't get caught up in the labels, and don't get caught up in how you'll be perceived. Like who you want to like, love who you want to love. Okay, next question. Um, did you ever feel like you didn't have a chance with someone because they were too popular? Absolutely. I'm sure that we've all kind of had that feeling. Um, and yes, there were a few people in which I would say that you know, didn't. So I probably couldn't be with them because they were kind of more popular than me, or you know, kind of perceived as a different status than I was. And I know some of them probably didn't see me that way, which is, in hindsight, is totally fine. Um, and also in hindsight, I realized that they weren't necessarily all that to begin with, to be honest. So, um, I just say let it roll off your shoulders, especially young viewers who are watching this. Don't let how someone, just because they seem more popular or whatever, don't let that affect you. That probably not even a person for you anyway. You know what I mean? So don't let the popular title, affect you. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't last. I mean, people become popular and may even become very successful. You get what I'm saying? I'm very popular in the world. But even that in itself does not necessarily mean that they're the appropriate person to be with. So I say don't get caught up in that label. And, if you feel like you didn't have a chance with that person, that just means that you have more of a chance with someone else. Did you ever feel like you couldn't see someone because they weren't as popular as you at the time? Okay, so now it's like flipping the script, kind of. Yeah, I mean, I can think of two incidences in which two girls kind of told me that they couldn't necessarily see themselves with me because I seem very social. And, one person actually said that it's a little bit of a pressure, which I thought was very interesting. And honestly, let's be real, this could be a total lie. It could have been a whole nother reason. But this is what was told to me, and I'm going to take it as the truth. Uh, and I thought that was interesting. Some people like that I'm very social, but, people who tend to like that I'm very social tend to just be friends. So I thought that was interesting, and it did it did sort of allow me to have a little more self reflection in a sense. Maybe I'm too outgoing in that sense, and maybe I should cut back a little bit and just be a little bit more reserved, fall more into the stereotypical man. You know what I mean? Not necessarily be so out there. You know, and you know, just maturing. That's kind of happened. Um, but I refuse to do that. I refuse to, you know, subject myself to a lower version of me. And I'm not saying that my demeanor and how I view things or even how I behave hasn't changed, because it definitely has. You know what I mean? I deal with things differently than the way I used to deal with them. But, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not going to stop being that outgoing person or stop being that social person, um, just because it may not be what someone wants. So I must hide who I am in order to be with someone. That's not the person for me to begin with, then. And I hope anyone who feels that way can relate, because it's not right. The moral of the story is that popularity is something that some people aspire to achieve, and there is nothing wrong with wanting to be popular. There is a good feeling that kind of comes with it, and there's some perks. Oh, there's definitely some perks to being popular. You know what I mean? But do not believe for a second, that just because you are popular, that means that you are perfect. Because you're not. Perfection is not in any of us, okay? And is not in the person that you think. Because even the most popular person can fall down. Even the most popular person can have their flaws. Even the most popular person may feel unpopular. So I hope that we all kind of learn something. And for those of you who've had, you know, uh, a troubled history in high school or something like that, or even in college, and where you felt underappreciated because of the situation that you were in, just brush it off. You know what I mean? And to me, the fact that you're watching this um, just shows that you're a lot better than anyone thinks you are. Okay? Keep your head up, subscribe, and always start your day off with a hey. Bye.